Caitlin Clark tries to go incognito, calling into a local radio show after the Pacers game last night.
Caitlin from downtown. Caitlin, do you have some thoughts for Mr. Simon and about the game in general tonight?
Now, one other thing I wanted to talk about that relates to Clark from downtown is the new criticism of Caitlin Clark.
A voice came through the radio. Confident, sharp, almost too smooth. The host paused. Listeners leaned closer.
Presence on the court is undeniable.
Caitlin from downtown, she said. But this wasn't just a fan celebrating a Pacers win. It was Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's brightest star.
Caitlin from downtown.
It was one of those nights where you literally could not miss. It was Aaron, it was Miles, it was...
The moment came after the game because the local post-game or the Pacers post-game radio network, they got a caller in. And said caller was
casually calling into a live post-game show like she was just another voice in the crowd. What followed was a raw, unfiltered moment that flipped the narrative on its head. In one call, Clark exposed a deeper connection with the game, radiated charisma.
Has your teams ever scored 80 points in a half?
Never scored 80 and a half. We'd be lucky to hit 60. So 80 and a half. 80 in a game is pretty good for the most part, but 80 and a half, I was on my feet for that entire second quarter. It was pretty fun.
And unintentionally cast a shadow so large, not even Angel Reese's star could escape it. This wasn't a press conference. This wasn't staged. This was real. And in 2 minutes, it sent shockwaves across the league.
What a win. I mean, first half was probably the best offensive half I've ever seen in all of basketball. It was fun.
Let's unpack the call that has everyone talking, and the rising power of a star who's changing the game without even trying. It started like any ordinary post-game show. The Indiana Pacers had just crushed the Cavaliers in one of their most explosive playoff performances yet. Fans were buzzing, the lines were open. The radio host was fielding calls from ecstatic listeners, all high on the energy of an 80-point first half.
So just a cool moment, a cool vibe, all those sorts of things. Does it mean anything really? I have no idea, right? Probably not. But nonetheless, it's cute, I guess, is the word I would use for it. And it's cool to see the Fever and the Pacers have this symbiotic relationship.
And then the moment came. A caller introduced herself simply as Caitlin from downtown. No alarm bells went off at first. Just another fan, right? Except something about the voice. It was too poised, too sharp. It wasn't your average post-game chatter. This was basketball fluency.
The teams that she's rooting for wins. I don't know what's going on. She's got like a touch of magic in the air or something. But she does call into a Pacers post-game show. Like after the game, she is introduced as Caitlin from downtown. So fans got a surprising nightcap to the Pacers game. Many, I'm sure, were driving on their way home, listening in a car. Some people just, I guess, turned on the radio. I don't even know if that's even a thing anymore because I heard about this on social media.
She broke down the Pacers' ball movement, praised Aaron Nesmith, admired the flow of the second quarter, and joked that in her own games, she'd be lucky to see her team drop 60 and a half.
It's because her games are an actual event.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Whenever Caitlin Clark takes the floor, that maybe is different not only from any player in the WNBA, but from any player in basketball.
The host played along until Steve Simon, son of Pacers owner Herb Simon, unintentionally blew the cover. Incredible commentary by our star, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, I don't know. These two teams, like the Indiana Fever and the Pacers, I mean, they really have this crazy like crossover bond that, I mean, I don't see it in any other teams, any WNBA to NBA teams.
Suddenly, everything snapped into focus. The voice wasn't just familiar, it was iconic. Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's rookie phenom, had just dialed into a live radio show under an alias and gave fans the most real, unscripted glimpse of her yet. This wasn't a media hit. This wasn't PR. This was Caitlin, raw, relaxed, and unfiltered.
I mean, all she did was get shown on the Jumbotron, right? I mean, there you see. Clark in attendance. But apparently the Pacers went on an extended run right after that moment, at least a 10-0 run that may have extended beyond that. But to me, the moment came after the game, because the local post-game, or the Pacers post-game radio network, they got a caller.
In that moment, listeners weren't hearing a headline machine. They were hearing a basketball lover, a city supporter, someone who could command the biggest arenas in the country, yet still felt like your friend calling in from the car on the way home. Her excitement was contagious. Her humility was striking. She wasn't bragging about her preseason dominance, or the sold-out crowds, or the viral moments that already defined her rise. She was talking hoops, pure and simple.
Caitlin Clark comes into the WNBA, goes through college. She has panache. She has style. Get over it. Get over yourself. Enjoy the ride, because make no mistake, it's Caitlin Clark's WNBA world.
She might be right. By making statements like this about racism, she destroys her marketability and appeal. Her innate racism and demand for victimhood are the cause of her downfall. Absolutely.
She was breaking down plays. She was geeking out over 80 points and a half. She was one of us, and yet clearly in a league of her own. And it didn't end with the call, because just moments before that radio appearance, Clark had been shown on the Jumbotron at the Pacers game.
Yeah, I don't know. These two teams, like the Indiana Fever and the Pacers, I mean, they really have this crazy like crossover bond that, I mean, I don't see it in any other teams, any WNBA to NBA teams. I mean, I know the Valkyries are hoping for that with the Golden State Warriors. I don't know that it's happened yet because, you know, they're a totally new team, but I could see, you know, Steph Curry sporting some Valkyrie stuff. He already has, actually. I don't know if this is like the PR team or it's like completely organic, but they are just doing the best job of making the Indiana Pacers and the Indiana Fever just like synonymous and creating a really nice relationship between the two organizations.
And what followed felt like something out of a sports fairy tale. The crowd erupted. The building's energy flipped, and the Pacers immediately went on a jaw-dropping 100-0 run. That's not superstition. That's presence. That's power. That's Caitlin Clark.
Whether you believe in the superstition or just the fun coincidence of it, with a 6-0 record now, if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on the game that Caitlin Clark went to. And they are advancing in the playoffs, and you know that they wish the WNBA season was not starting, which will be next week. I am so excited when they play the Sky on the 17th, but you know that the Pacers wish that Caitlin Clark could be at all of their playoff games because she is kind of being viewed as a good luck charm for them.
What was supposed to be just a fun fan moment turned into something bigger. A cultural flashpoint that redefined the energy around both the Fever and the Pacers. While stars like Angel Reese are making headlines through controversy and on-court conflict, Caitlin Clark just picked up the phone, spoke her truth, and in doing so reminded everyone why she's the name on every fan's lips, even off the court.
Caitlin Clark in the WNBA 100 out of 100 times, except maybe it won't. Why? Because Caitlin Clark plays basketball different than anybody else. Caitlin Clark plays it with flair. She plays it with panache.
In under 5 minutes without a ball in her hand, she owned the night. And she did it from the shadows of a radio signal. What happened after that call wasn't just memorable, it was magnetic. Moments before Caitlin's voice echoed through the airwaves, she appeared briefly on the Jumbotron at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. A simple crowd shot, a smile, a wave, and the arena erupted like someone had flipped a switch. Within seconds, the Pacers went on an explosive, seemingly unstoppable run.
But one of the stories that's emerged a little bit, especially if you're a Fever fan or an Indiana basketball fan, is the camaraderie between the Fever and the Pacers. You know, the Fever are maybe the first WNBA team in history. She's shooting the ball better than she did last year as well. Her true shooting percentage is higher. Her field goal percentage is higher. Her three-point percentage is higher. But in the midst of all that, some fans are not happy that she can sometimes shove off to get a little space.
Fans in the stands lost their minds. Commentators laughed nervously. And social media, it exploded. They called it the Kate Voodoo. A joke at first, until the numbers started stacking up. 6 Pacers playoff games, 6 wins. 0 losses. Every single one attended by Caitlin Clark. Coincidence? Maybe, but it didn't feel like it. Not to the fans, not to the players, and certainly not to Indiana. The Pacers looked energized, sharper, untouchable. Like her presence unlocked something primal in that building.
They're always like supporting each other on social media. And this post went up. It was a quote from Miles Turner that says, "How many cities can say they've got one of the most exciting teams in the league in men's hoops and women's hoops, and a fan base who keeps the same energy for both of them?"
Even Pacers big man Miles Turner said it best. How many cities can say they've got one of the most exciting men's and women's teams, with fans who bring the same energy for both? That quote hit different, because Caitlin isn't just a fan. She's become a force, not just in women's basketball, but in the soul of a basketball city that's suddenly alive in a way it hasn't been in years. Indiana isn't just riding a hot streak, they're riding the rise of Caitlin Clark, and the atmosphere around her feels electric.
The moment came after the game because the local post-game, or the Pacers post-game radio network, they got a caller.
While Caitlin Clark was effortlessly commanding attention from a simple radio call and a courtside smile, another name, Angel Reese, seemed to fade into the background. Not because she isn't talented, not because she didn't show up, but because she was no longer the center of gravity. Caitlin didn't need a viral outburst. She didn't need a choreographed rivalry. All she needed was her voice, her presence, and the truth of what she represents.
That is a sold-out arena. 14,998 people. That's all it could hold. They all showed up in Caitlin Clark's college arena. A lot of this is flat about likability and people wanting to support their team.
A once-in-a-generation star whose influence bleeds beyond the boundaries of her league. Think about it. The headlines weren't about Reese's latest performance or her flair. They were about Caitlin Clark overshadowing her, not by intention, but by sheer magnetism. While Reese was caught in debates over fouls and flare-ups, Caitlin was uniting two franchises, energizing a city, and drawing NBA-level noise from a simple courtside cameo. And the scary part? The WNBA season hadn't even started. Critics scrambled to distract, nitpicking her footwork, dissecting her push-off on slow-motion replays.
Caitlin called into a talk radio show. That was Laura Steele's account where that video came from. And it was Eddie White on the post game, as I mentioned.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
And she's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person, and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
Pacers radio network, and Herb Simon's son, Steve Simon, was on it, and he kind of like ruined the bit by calling Caitlin Clark out.
But while they dissected tape, Clark was rewriting it. Her preseason shooting, sharper than ever. Her efficiency, upper. Her game, more versatile. She was no longer just the sharpshooter. She was a complete player, evolving in real time, becoming the face of a movement. Meanwhile, fans and analysts alike started saying what had once been whispered. Caitlin Clark doesn't just belong in the WNBA. She's already outgrowing it.
She broke her own damn record, hitting 36-foot-long three-pointers. She looked it sensational. This team looked it great. And I'm telling you right now, they just put the entire
I didn't plan to shoot that logo three. I know coming into the game, everybody wanted me to shoot one from there. But Steph was like, was supposed to come out at the end of the third. So she's like, give a foul, give a foul, give a foul. And then it was 30 seconds on the clock, which like, between 30 to 33, that's like your 2-for-1 range where you have to get one up. So I saw 30 as we're inbounding the ball, which probably is inbounding the ball at 30, probably a little low, but I was like, why not?
And while Angel Reese is still figuring out how to translate her swagger into impact, Clark is doing what the greats do, creating gravity, elevating everything around her, drawing crowds, wins, and wonder, without ever needing to ask for attention.
Pow Pow on the play has both her hands on Clark. So Clark shoving off is a response to the physical defensive play, which again, I have no problem really with either. The refs can choose to call what they want to call out on the floor. I don't think Caitlin has attempted a free throw in the preseason, so it's not like she's getting some crazy.
The difference is now obvious. Reese plays loud. Clark plays loud without speaking a word. She didn't need a press tour. She didn't need drama. All Caitlin Clark did.
Right here, here it is right here. She comes in, just a little grab around her, trying to kind of hold her, really.
Afterwards,
and Angel Reese loses her mind. I mean, if you can't tell me there is not true animosity, jealousy, and agenda ate up right there, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that was a big nothing. Wow. Where was a technical foul for Angel Reese losing her temper?
Was called a radio show. And in that one unscripted, low-key moment, she reminded everyone what real star power looks like. No theatrics, no controversy, just presence, just passion, just a basketball mind speaking from the heart.
There's this one guy I see around, Jericho Whiskey, in the social media space, and he mentioned the Indiana Pacers are undefeated in the playoffs when the needle is in attendance. Then there was someone else that says the Kate Voodoo Pacers are the best team of all time.
And somehow still managing to steal every headline in the process. While others chase the spotlight, Caitlin Clark is the spotlight. She doesn't ask for attention, it follows her. She doesn't compete for relevance, she redefines it. From courtside cameos to viral radio calls to uniting two franchises under one electric aura, Clark is doing more than playing the game. She's transforming it. So whether you believe in the Kate Voodoo or not, one thing is undeniable. Caitlin Clark isn't just the future of women's basketball. She's the moment, right now. And Angel Reese, she's just trying to keep up.
Who are you, Caitlin Clark?
Caitlin Clark made every single player around her more dangerous today. This is not only the best point guard in the league, this is an MVP candidate, and this is a contender for the best player in the world.
Let's talk about Caitlin Clark's hard foul. Angel Reese gets the ball. Caitlin Clark goes over, does a hard foul, commits a hard foul on Angel Reese.
This is a basketball play.
Now, with this play, they did call a flagrant one on Caitlin Clark.
They called a flagrant for this, which I do not think was the correct call.
If Caitlin Clark would have reacted that way last year, people wouldn't have been taking shots as often as they would have.